travel ruined my life, but not in the way you think. It's not about the hard times, being robbed or being lost. It's not about the good times either, and catching that travel bug where you're addicted to beaches or whatever. No, travel ruined my life because it showed me the true depth of humanity, and it showed me poverty. And once you see poverty, you can't unsee that. I'm a do-gooder today because a decade ago, I saw people in extreme poverty, and I want to do something about it. So today we're going to look at a trip to Nepal and India from 2011 that really impacted me, a trip to Kenya 10 years later in 2021 that really impacted me, and then finally I'm going to show you an amazing little graph at the end. Okay, so here's this cool book that I created with my brother about this trip that I took to Nepal and India in 2011. It's cool. I'm going to show you some of it today. And so as a reminder, this is India and Nepal. And we were mostly in Nepal, but then I spent some time in Dharamsala and also Varanasi and Delhi. And so this book is kind of broken into our time in Nepal and the Himalayas, and then a little bit in Nepal generally, and then finally going into India. And so you can see this is Tibetan script and also Nepali and Hindi script. Okay, so first we're in the Himalaya. I could show you cool pictures of mountains and things, which would be kind of interesting. But mostly what I want to show you are kind of the people side and how the people, seeing people that were kind of poor and different, how that impacted me. Travel's amazing. You get to connect with amazing people all around the world. And I want to first start with these kids here. And I remember this was our kind of guide for our Himalaya trip, this guy Agnimala, and he was hanging out with these, these poor kids who are in the Himalayas. They're in this place called Mustang. They're really poor. And I just remember seeing these kids. You can kind of see it on their faces. They have little nose drips going on. They're just dirty. Their clothes are really dirty. And I just remember seeing them being like, these kids are poor. These are really poor kids. And that memory sticks with me. And then there are things like being in Nepal with my homestay family and these two little cuties. These were my foreign exchange brothers and sisters, Tutsa and Desel, and they're, young kids. And taking baths with them, but also taking baths myself and being like, oh my God, water here is so hard to get. And I remember it wasn't warm, and then you could heat it up, and then you could do a sponge bath. It was like, oh my God, this is so hard. And this has made me more grateful for hot water in America. And that we even use clean water in like our toilets and things, which is crazy. Then you have people just getting around. And so this is in Nepal, which they had the big earthquake in 2008. They had a big kind of communist uprising after that. And the infrastructure is just bad. And so this is a woman just trying to go to work, and she had to jump across all this like water and stuff to get there. And so daily life is just harder. These images are from a temple that burns the most bodies per year, actually. And just they cremate the bodies. And here's a guy with his loved one. And here's more people burning bodies in the fire. And it is really sad to me because I think, just as a reminder in these places, something like Nepal is in the 20th poorest places in the world. And so death is just more of a thing there. And you can almost feel it. Later on the trip, I was in India, and India already felt so much richer than Nepal. They had stoplights, they had all these crazy things. And this is a picture, kind of a cool sideways picture of just being in trains in India. And these are people sleeping at a train station. Again, you just feel the poverty. I mean, the guy's feet, his little shoes, and there are not that many clothes. And then here's a picture in Varanasi on the Ganges River, which is just a dirty river. And there's this guy who was cleaning himself in it. This guy has stuck with me so much. You can see here's his little underwear have all these holes in them. And I remember seeing that and just being like, damn, this dude ain't got enough money for underwear, bro. And even today, this is kind of weird, but I keep... It's kind of weird, but I'm showing you my underwear. This is a pair of underwear that I've had for a decade plus now, and I still have it, and I still sometimes wear it. And you can see there's a huge hole in it. See, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's not good underwear anymore. And the reason why I have this is because it reminds me of how little others have in the world. And it is a reminder that even in this amazingness that I have here in San Francisco, trying to live my best life, it's a reminder for me that so much of the world still lives in poverty or extreme poverty, and that I should do my best to give back to those people, because they're people too. And I wasn't special by being born in America or anything. I'm the same as this guy. We have the same underwear. Okay, so that was my trip to Nepal and India. It was some of my first times really seeing extreme poverty in the world. And I think it's good to not just go to Europe. I think it's good not to just to think of poverty in America. Both those things are cool and real. Going to see Europe is cool to be like, oh, this is different. And poverty in America is really real and really bad. But seeing extreme poverty in the world is totally different. And so I think if you haven't done that already, I totally recommend it. The other thing I want to show you is this trip I took to Kenya in 2021 with my dad and my brother. That's my brother on the right and me on the left. You can see here's my, not sure why I have, look at that beard. That's what we call a COVID beard. It was disgusting, and I'm sorry I'm forcing you to see it. But this trip, again, it was a great way. We walked for 150 miles in Kenya and through these grasslands, and it was for a nonprofit that my dad's part of called Lalumba. And yeah, it was, again, a sign of being like, just seeing poor folks in the world, really extreme poverty in the world, and being like, damn, that is really hard. And so it was a charity walk, and we raised $10,000 or whatever, each person did, and that's going to a good cause, and that is good. And also just important, I think, to see, it's hard, but it's important to kind of see people who are in harder straits. And so you can see here, we were on this trip, and we were on this big walking thing. That's my dad. There's my dad, who's a homie. These pictures are from Rob, who was a leader on the trip, by the way. Thank you, Rob. And yeah, we were walking, and I'm playing the drums and all this stuff, and hanging out with the kids and being with the kids. I love being with the little kids. That's so cute. Look at them. They're so cute. I'm hanging out with them. And so that's cool. But then also seeing, it's like, no, the reason why we were there was for these really poor folks. And so you can see, here's two examples of them. Here's this guy. He was like a 70-year-old guy. He had these 5-year-old kids. Everybody was poor. That was his home is behind him. That's one of his 2 chairs. He's blind. I mean, he's kind of on the good side in some ways, because he's a dude who's made it to 70. But the rest of this community is more like this, where a lot of them are still dealing with these infectious diseases and so these are folks, I mean, I remember this woman's, you see her toes are messed up. I remember seeing her toes being super messed up. It's hard for her to walk. A lot of people in this community, there's HIV/AIDS is endemic here, and mothers give it to their kids, and then the kids are born with it, so they have these immune disorders. A lot of these people still are dealing with malnutrition and diarrheal diseases, and so it's just, and you can see, here's this woman's home. It's like a square little house, and everybody sleeps in there. The rug, there's no rug. The floor is just dirt. The fire's in the corner, and so that's where you make your foods, in the corner. That provides all this air pollution, which is hurting everybody and killing everybody. So just, if you're lucky, you have these malaria bed nets. And so it just sucks. It totally sucks to be in a situation like this. Yes, it's a blessing to be alive, and also people don't need to be living like this anymore. Again, this experience in Kenya, it was a decade later, and it really helped me touch, again, people in the world who are still experiencing poverty and wanting to help with that. The final thing I want to do today is kind of get on my high horse with a reminder for, does money increase happiness? And you can see, it's like, oh, there's all these poor folks in the world. Can you actually help them? It's like, yes, you can. There's this graph, does money make you happy? Yes, but only up until a point. And so you can see here that here's your world happiness score. This is, 1 through 10. You kind of ask people how happy they are. You get it from a bunch of different metrics and stuff. And you can see here that, yeah, the first $1,000, they don't have any money. Their first $1,000 is so impactful. For someone like me, an extra $1,000 doesn't matter that much. And so you can see here, so at the beginning, whenever you double your income, you get an extra point of happiness. And that's roughly what happens later, but it's just increasingly hard to double your income. So the first $1,000 is really impactful for someone in Afghanistan or Botswana or whatever. But then by the time you have $50,000, you have to get an additional $50,000 all the way up to $100,000 to just get a little bit more happiness. And so once you're at $60,000, $100,000, at that point, you can just give your money back to these really poor folks around the world. You're not losing out on any happiness yourself, and you're making other people in the world so much happier. So that's where things like Give Directly come into play, where you can give someone a basic income for $30 a month. It's like, why wouldn't you do that? So yeah, I hope this helps you understand. I just want to share a little bit about, I'm doing all these videos on global health and all these things. I just wanted to give a little bit of a personal take on how my life trajectory has helped me empathize with the world. And I hope it inspires you to travel to developing countries as well, to really touch and feel all the different ways that we can be in the world, and to kind of encourage you to help more. So thanks as always for listening. Hope this wasn't too do-goodery or guilty or whatever. And hope you're doing well, and bye.